Marika's ascension to godhood is surrounded by blood and war. Today we're going to discuss the key events of her rule along with her family tree. Marika's life starts in hardship and pain. Born in Shaman village, oppressed by the Hornsent, whose culture merging criminals' flesh together as punishment, sacrificing the shaman from Marika's village to help it meld together. Marika avoided this fate by committing a sin, most likely seducing Imperial Hornsent Grandam.
A curse upon thee, rotten miscreant. A curse upon the strumpet's progeny. Upon Marika's children, each and all. The curse of the omen shall strike thee down.
She steals the secret rite scroll and uses its knowledge to use the divine gateway to ascend as a god. I believe this ritual is what caused the Greater Will to set his sights on the land between in the first place, calling him like a beacon, corrupting the crucible, turning it into the Erdtree, which Marika shapes with her newfound powers, casting shadow over her history and home, letting her sin be lost among with them. Marika creates the city of Lindell, her seat of power at the base of the Erdtree, and founds the Golden Order as a governing principle and religion. She marries a powerful tribe chieftain named Hoarah Loux, renowned for his strength and love of battle, perfect for leading an army, but not exactly the figurehead for civilization, and so to suppress the most violent side of himself, he ties his spirit to the spirit beast Serosh, and renames himself Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. In the beginning, everyone was opposed to the Erdtree's presence. So when prophets start having visions of the Erdtree burning, it was a legitimate concern. Godfrey led their army to fight the fire giants, the most obvious enemies that could start this fire. They ally themselves with the Knights of Zama, ancient enemies of the giants, and the trolls, descendants of the giants, fighting them until only one remained. But she couldn't extinguish the flame in their forge, granted to them by the fell god, so cursed the last fire giant to tend to its flames forever. After this, Marika and Godfrey have 3 children. The firstborn, Godwyn, grows as an admired hero and champion, fighting and befriending ancient dragons. The other 2 children, twins, are born Omen, meaning they have aspects of the crucible. Usually, these children would be tortured and killed, but instead she banished them deep underground. Mohg embraces his Omen blood, while Morgott renounces his and seals it away in order to serve his mother. At some point, Godfrey begins an invasion to spread the Golden Order from Lindell right to Castle Morn. During this conquest, he forces the Nox underground, but fails to defeat the Carrion royal family, rulers of the Lernia of the Lakes. When the final enemy falls, the guidance of grace he had been following suddenly fades from his eyes. He returns to Lindell, and instead of his victory being celebrated, Marika instead casts him and his army out of the lands between, without guidance, in an event that would become known as the Long March.
In Marika's own words, my lord, and thy warriors, I divest each of thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between. Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die. Then, after thy death, I will give back what I once claimed, return to the lands between, wage war, and brandish the Elden Ring, grow strong in the face of death. Warriors of my lord, Lord Godfrey.
It It is unknown where Marika's other self comes from. However, I believe she was annoyed at Godfrey's failure in defeating the Carrion Royals, so used the Elden Ring to bend reality to allow herself to become two people, creating Radagon, her other half. But this is just speculation. Her and Radagon have two children in secret, Messmer and Malenia. Messmer was born cursed, with a serpent living inside him. But instead of locking him underground, Marika seals the snake away and sends him to the land of shadow to burn the Hornsent villagers and people to the ground as revenge for her tortured upbringing, and she abandons him there once the job is done. Radagon travels to Liurnia, but the Carrions, led by Renalla, Queen of the Full Moon, defended the lands twice, so Radagon changes gears.
Radagon once cleansed himself with celestial dew, repented his territorial aggressions, and swore his love to Renalla. The order of the Erdtree and the fate of the moon were conjoined, and all the wounds of war forgiven.
This union led to the birth of their three children, Rykard, Radahn, and Ranni. But once Godfrey leaves on the Long March, Radagon leaves Renalla and returns to Lindell.
When Godfrey, first Elden Lord, was hounded from the lands between, Radagon left Renalla to return to the Erdtree capital, becoming Queen Marika's second husband and king consort.
Marika and Radagon have two final children, the twins, Malenia and Miquella, who are once again both born cursed. Miquella has eternal youth, and Malenia's body is inhabited by scarlet rot. Malenia swears herself to Miquella, while Miquella in turn promises to find a cure for his sister's rot. Malenia trains with the same blind swordsman who banished the outer god of rot away, while Miquella's research leads to the discovery of the healing properties of unalloyed gold needles. But it wasn't a cure, so he turns his back on the Golden Order, watering a golden seed with his own blood to grow his own Erdtree, creating the Erdtree. For a time the lands between flourish under the Golden Order, until the gods are attacked by the Godskin Apostles, wielding the power of the Black Flame, powerful enough to kill a god. Fear of them starts to spread across gods and mortals alike. So Marika removes the Rune of Death from the Elden Ring and confines it to Malekith's blade. Preventing natural death in the lands between leaves the Godskins to be powerless and leads to the defeat of their leader, the Gloam-Eyed Queen. To replace natural death, catacombs were created near the Erdtree roots, where people who have earned a death were led to be absorbed into the tree itself. We switch momentarily to Ranni the Witch, Radagon's daughter, who was chosen to be an Empyrean, meaning she was in line to be the next god. She didn't want this, but to avoid this fate she needed to die. Impossible now the rune was sealed away. Somehow she steals a slither of the Rune of Death and imbues the weapons of the Black Knight assassins. Wielding this power of death, they simultaneously kill both her and Marika's firstborn, Godwyn, carving half the curse mark of death into both of them. This kills Ranni's body, but leaves her spirit alive, in which it was transferred into a doll. Godwyn's fate is so much worse, but I'll discuss that in the next episode, so subscribe for that. Marika begins to question the greater will.
I declare mine intent to search the depths of the Golden Order through understanding of the proper way. Our faith, our grace is increased. Those blissful early days of blind belief are long past. My comrades, why must ye falter?
Do you recall what I said? That Marika and the fingers that guided her were unsound from the start? Well, the truth lies deeper still. It is their mother who is damaged and unhinged.
This revelation causes Marika to want to end the Golden Order, so she shatters the Elden Ring. As punishment, the Elden Beast crucifies Marika, trapping her inside the Great Erdtree, while Radagon seals the entrance to prevent another coming and replacing her. This led Marika to do the last thing she could, returning the guidance of grace back to Godfrey and the Tarnished, pushing them to help mend the broken order she helped build. This wrought chaos outside of the Erdtree. Major and minor runes spread out across the lands. The Demigods start fighting for power over the greater runes. The Omen twins escape confinement, and Rykard fed himself and a great rune to a god-eating serpent. Miquella has his own plans, asking or compelling his sister to bring Radagon with him, by force if needed. But Radagon wouldn't come, and was too strong to fight, nearly killing Melina until she was saved by unleashing the bloom of scarlet rot on her back, an infliction that would drive him insane. As she collapses, Malenia whispers, "Miquella awaits thee, O promised consort." The rot spreads across Caelid. And this is the state of the lands between when our Tarnished enters. The last piece of the story takes place after we kill Radahn. Miquella compels Mohg to take his cocoon from the High Tree to his palace as a way of entering the realm of shadow, and uses the corpse of Radahn and the spirit of Mohg. He revives Radahn as his consort at last.